And now, that is an overview of the relationship that I have with my body and food. Hi, I'm Jessica, and after countless of times changing the topic of this video essay, I have finally decided to talk about something that I have struggled with the most. So here it is: food, beauty, body, and control. I remember getting comments about my body from people around me ever since a very young age. But it was not until I was 10 that the comments becomes more extreme. And it was also when I was first asked to go on a diet. 10. And what people calls as a healthy change of lifestyle spirals down into a toxic yet dysmorphic relationship between me, my body, and food. In the 18th century, philosopher Jeremy Bentham invented a hypothetical prison called the panopticon, where a central observation tower is placed within a circle full of prison. The guards from the tower can look into the cells, while the prisoners inside the cells can never know if the guards are watching. But since there is a possibility that they always might be watched, the prisoners learn to act as if they are always watched. This is because the guards have been put inside the prisoner's head, monitoring their every movement. This concept of having a guard inside one's head is very prevalent in modern day era, or known as self-surveillance. And in today's era where the media has an obsessive preoccupation with one's body, we can see how the act of self-surveillance is mostly used to discipline the body to achieve the certain ideal standard that society have promoted, through contents like what I eat in a day, lunch gym edition, that is often accompanied with body checking clips. This teaches us that when it comes to food, we should always regard ourselves with discipline and surveillance, because our bodies and lifestyles are being watched and judged by everyone else, and that we should achieve that ideal that we desire. Notice how I air quote "we" there? This is because though the narrative in the media has led us to believe that the ideal self deeply embedded in our head is our personal choice, clearly it is not. Using Lacanian mirror theory, Critchley expands that there are two versions of an individual. One is the real self, and the other is the ideal self. According to Critchley, the split and demand of the ideal self we so badly want to achieve is impossible. But if we know that it's impossible, then why do so many of us, including myself, continue to work on this doomed quest? Critchley mentions that the split between the real self and the ideal self can be most acutely felt through shame. And this is where capitalism, consumer culture, and the media comes into play with self-surveillance. Capitalism filled the media that we consume as a daily entertainment with a series of personal issues. The media will then work to cite complexes to problematize the relationship that we had with ourselves and convince us that there is something to fix about our body. As a result, it makes us feel insecure and dissatisfied with our body. For example, a typical healthy lifestyle video, ads, or TV shows would firstly problematize certain bodies, before later offering a particular lifestyle, product, or services that promise audiences their ideal self and feel ultimate satisfaction. However, as mentioned before, the ideal self is unattainable. Thus, the satisfaction that we obtain from the certain product, lifestyle, or services will also soon disappear, and we will again be dissatisfied. This is why I keep on working and working on that doomed quest to achieve my ideal body, because I believe that my current body is fat, unhealthy, unfit, so I should be kind to myself by starving myself. Hunger then becomes a sign of accomplishments for me. I come to get pleasure by depriving myself from the joy of eating the food that I want to eat. The pleasure does not only come from the idea that I will achieve my ideal body. Through the idea of self-surveillance imposed on the ideal self, I also come to gain pleasure from the idea of proving myself that I'm capable of being disciplined and in charge of my body through food. Bordo, in Unbearable weight, pointed out that young women must learn to embody not only femininity, but also masculine language and values, like self-control, determination, discipline, and so on. So, the strict diet and drastic result then satisfy the internal battle to want to look feminine and desirable by being skinny, while also wanting to embody masculinity. All of this then in turn creates the vicious cycle between me, my body, and food that I can never get out of. Because the ideal body is always going to be there, and it's always going to be vulnerable to being imposed by norms and standards that weren't even my choice. In the end, I still have not found my answer to this problem. But what I do find useful is to not privatize the problem as only and exclusively individuals. Because oftentimes these problems, as I have explained before, are complicated and structural. And if you understand this, though maybe you will still want to count your calories like I did, at least you understand that you do not have to be ashamed or guilty for not disciplining yourself from the joy of eating. I call for you guys to question the ideal self and also the discipline that you took to reach it. Because we have to constantly question the relationship between representation and subjectivity. Because the beauty ideals that we have come to internalize and made our own is in the end very socially constructed and mass mediated. So, always keep in mind the question that, is that ideal self what you really want? And if it brings you joy, does that discipline actually brings you genuine joy or a satisfaction from policing your body? My name is Jessica, and thank you for listening.